From severe weather in Texas to a typhoon forming in the Pacific Ocean, this is your Chunketo weather forecast. So, the weather is finally starting to get a little bit more active now, with our first significant severe weather in 9 days being possible across portions of western Texas, mainly in the form of very large hail, and a significant typhoon possibly starting to form off in the middle of the western Pacific Ocean. So anyways, let's get straight into this weather forecast. First of all, looking at our SPC outlook for today for the severe weather threat, you can see we have a slight risk of severe weather, mainly across western Texas, across the Midland areas, Odessa area, San Andreas area, all the way towards Fort Stockton, and it also includes a little bit of southeastern New Mexico. We also have a marginal risk of severe weather from southeastern New Mexico into the southern Texas and Mexico border there. We have another marginal risk of severe weather, meaning across from western Montana. We have another one from southeastern North Dakota into eastern South Dakota, all the way into southern Minnesota and central Wisconsin. And we have another small marginal risk of severe weather across eastern Kentucky. For our tornado risk today, our main tornado risk is mainly east of Fort Stockton all the way to west of San Andreas there, where we could see a couple tornadoes today. It doesn't look like a very significant tornado threat though. Our 2% tornado risk extends from the Austin and San Antonio areas all the way up towards Midland and Lubbock, all the way into southeastern New Mexico. And we have another 2% tornado risk, mainly from Bowling Green into farther eastern portions of Kentucky. So if you're in those areas, you can see an isolated tornado or two later today. For our damaging wind threat, in all of those areas, we have a 5% damaging wind risk, and mainly across southwestern Texas and western Texas there, whatever you want to call it, there is a 15% damaging wind risk, mainly including Midland, Odessa, and San Andreas areas, and also a little bit of Fort Stockton there. You're right on the edge, but still pay attention to that threat. And if you're in the 5% areas, you could see some isolated damaging wind gusts from 60 to 65 miles an hour today. In the 15% area, you could see some damaging wind gusts scattered up to 70 miles an hour. Our hail risk seems to be the most significant threat today. We have a 15% hail risk mainly across western Texas, but that also does include a sliver of southeastern New Mexico. Our 5% hail risks are from southeastern New Mexico into western Texas, another one across northwestern Montana, and another one across southeastern Minnesota into central Wisconsin. And we do have a SIG 1 area mainly across western Texas, where we could see some hail potentially reaching up to the size of baseballs later today, but most of the hailstones will probably be around the size of quarters to potentially bigger than golf balls, so make sure you pay attention to that threat today because it could be really significant. Next, looking at our Weather Prediction Center Day 1 excessive rainfall outlook for this morning, you can see we have a couple large slight risks of excessive rainfall. One is mainly across central into western Texas there, and we also have a slight risk of excessive rainfall from southeastern Louisiana into southeastern Mississippi, all the way into southern Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, into western and northern Georgia, western South Carolina, western North Carolina, into southwestern Virginia, and we have marginal risks of excessive rainfall across a large portion of the southeastern United States into the Ohio Valley, another one mainly across southern Oklahoma, eastern New Mexico, southwestern Louisiana, and much of Texas, and another one across northeastern Idaho, all the way into western Montana there. So if you're in the slight risks of flash flooding, you can see some scattered flash flooding, not too significant though. However, there could be a couple significant areas of excessive rainfall, and if you're more risk of excessive rainfall, still pay attention to it, but the threat seems to be lower in those areas like normal. Finally, looking at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center's website, you can see that we do have one area to watch called 99W. Right now is a medium risk of development, which means tropical cyclone development is likely, but is expected beyond the 24-hour time frame. I would expect that later today or sometime tomorrow, this will get upgraded to a high risk of forming into a tropical cyclone. And actually, if we did look at some of the weather models, which I did, it shows it could become a Category 3 or Category 4 equivalent typhoon, but don't pay attention to those details too much. Things can change, but if you're in those areas, mainly like Philippines, Japan, just watch out for this, because we're not too certain of what the track could be, but generally it looks like it will stay away from land. Maybe it will impact Japan in some ways, but doesn't look like it will be too significant for any land areas as of right now. Anyways, that is the end of today's weather forecast. If you're in any of the impacted areas, from all the way in Japan, maybe even a portion of the Philippines, into western Texas, the southeastern United States, western Montana, any of those areas that will get impacted by severe weather and flash flooding, along with any other areas I mentioned today, make sure you are prepared for some severe weather, flash flooding, maybe even a significant typhoon. But I didn't go too much into detail because I will likely have some emergency updates out on the tropical cyclone once it forms and gets named, so make sure you watch out for those. I may have several of those coming out, as many as I need to make. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel so that you will be notified when I have a new video, and so that you can support my channel. And also please consider liking this video and sharing this video for your friends and family, so that YouTube will push this video out to more people, and so that more people can see this video. And I will see you all in the next weather video. Goodbye.